Welcome to Taking It to the Nub. I'm your host, Boston Jimmie, and tonight we have a fabulous hour of conversation as I bring in a good friend of mine, Micky Pegg. We're going to learn about Micky. We're going to learn about All Saints Cigars, and we are going to talk about my small company, Cigar of the Year, the All Saints Colorado box press Churchill. Let me bring in Micky. Oh, brother, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. How about you?
Hey, you know what? Life is good. I can't complain.
I'm up here in the nation's capital.
That's it. I'm about ready to just fire up this fabulous cigar you created, and we're going to get to talk.
You're making me jealous. I'm unfortunately, I think we were talking about this is my first podcast. I've been on a bunch of them where I can't light up a cigar. I'm actually in my hotel room. Was what I had to do because just getting around. We're moving my daughter into Catholic University this weekend. She did a mid-year transfer. We couldn't be prouder. It's where I met my wife. And so I'm in here. I'm doing what you said. I'm doing cold draws, but I had the lighter right by my hand. I have to keep moving it so I don't start talking and we start BS and I go to fire it up like you normally do, like we're in a lounge or something,
Yeah. So give the lighter to your daughter so you
yeah
in front of you. Drinking anything at least?
Yeah, actually, I went a little ghetto tonight, and I'm drinking Evan Williams Barrel and Bond. So that my wife just picked me up a little, tucked a little bit of Diet Coke in there too. So
you're kind of going back to your college days. So you're reliving your whole experience with your daughter there.
Yeah, the funny thing is I had a full head of hair and one chin, so it was a little bit different back then.
Yeah, I did too. Hair was down here.
Right.
For sure.
Where you guys going?
I was gonna go to the lobby.
All right.
So let's talk briefly about Micky Pegg. You grew up in Philly?
No, so I was born and raised in the Daytona Beach area of Florida.
Okay.
I went to a high school called Father Lopez, which is now a very big school. It was a small school. It's still smaller, but it's much bigger than it was when I attended there.
Good football team. They have a good program.
Yeah, we were ranked. Actually, I played football against Emmett Smith and Ricky Natile, and who else did I play ball against? Yeah, so because I was the same year as Emmett Smith. So he played for Escambia, and we saw those guys in the playoffs quite a bit. We made it to the playoffs every year. We just never went too deep. And then I did a postgraduate year at Valley Forge Military Academy, which had nothing to do with me moving to Philly. Maybe it did because I loved the area when I went up there to visit it. Because I was either going to go Division I or I was going to go Ivy League. And I ended up at the Catholic University of America, Washington, D.C., small little Division III school. And then came to D.C. in 87, and it was in D.C. in 87 to 2001. And then 2005 to 2011, I was in Nashville, then moved back to Philly. So.
And somewhere along that pathway, you got into cigars. I imagine it wasn't during grade school with the nuns.
No. That would have been interesting. I got kicked. I was on another show. I got kicked out of I got kicked out of. That's a whole nother. I got kicked out of a lot of schools growing up. No, so it was Georgetown Tobacco here in Washington, D.C. David Berkebile, matter of fact, I named one of my Vitolas after him on my dedication line. It's called the Berkey. He's just turned 81, 56 years in the business. They were a top 10 shop in the nation at that time. It was just before the really big, some people call it the boom. I call it a little bit of an explosion because, a boom, you think there's an up and down. A boom never really came down. It might have leveled here over, a couple times. And that's where I got started. And, from there, went to Davidoff and helped them go from a broker to a direct sales force. And then had a little stint with Fleet Gregorio, and then ended up at CAO and, being a VP of sales and, on the blending team with John Huber and Tim, obviously led by Tim Osgener. And then I got out for a little bit and then used that money to get back in. So went to Catholic University, and then when I left, when CAO that ended, I went back and sold the mutual funds. I finished up my grad degree at University of Pennsylvania, married a Havertown girl, and that's it. So
Knowing the Oettingers, you know Harry from Harry Habana Hut?
yeah, I love their cousin, because we used to. So Harry, which is interesting, is the Big Smoke New York was always the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So Harry would always come in, and the Osgoners would come up to New York and spend it at Harry's parents' house and it was always really kind of a fun week because you didn't really have to visit a lot of stores. We did the Big Smoke on Tuesday. I actually would go back down and go to the shore because we always go down to Avalon for Thanksgiving. And then the Osgoners would stay up there for Thanksgiving, and then they would go back to Nashville, and I'd go back to Nashville too. But yeah, so it was all Harry. Yeah, baby. Hey, baby.
Hey, baby. Yeah, baby.
It was always a blast.
Harry, if you're listening, you're gonna love it.
The hardest working son of a bitch you've ever met in your entire life.
He's amazing, and he has one of the most eclectic collections of aged weird cigars. I mean, buried down in
that humidor.
It's like boxes on top of boxes. He pulls stuff out, and he finds some like vintage stuff that he forgot he had.
Right.
I actually bought the Caldwell butter stick cigars. Remember those? He had some of those buried down there.
The last time I was in Harry's shop was end of last year. Was in there. The guy from great guy cracked me up from Rockefeller was in there, and I smoked one of his cigars.
Oh, Kevin Schweitzer.
That cigar was freaking delicious. Yeah, and we had a good time.
The Art of Magic.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
but it was delicious.
So now you have so between Davidoff and CAO, where would you say you got your most, I won't say training, but understanding of blending cigars?
Yeah. Nicaragua, CAO.
Okay.
Yeah, by far.
Did you go down there at all?
What's that? I scheduled to go down there next month. Will be the first time I've been down there in 2 years. Okay. I watched Terrence and a couple other guys that I'm friends with sneak in and sneak out. Not sneak in and sneak out. You know what I mean? It's just a little bit of a bitch because you can't get tested to get out of the country. They won't do it in Esteli. You got to go back down to Managua. So literally to get out of the country, it adds 24 hours before you step on the airplane. About 24 hours before you step on the airplane to get out. So. And that's before you get to the airport. So, so that's a little bit, but I got to get down there. There's some things got to do. The projects. We got some interesting things coming out this year. So, got to get that done and planning 23 and 24. Absolutely. I'm already working on a couple projects for then right now. So, what's
the tobacco supply look like now in Nicaragua going into those years?
Yeah. So, right now, so there's a couple tobaccos that Rocky. Matter of fact, I was telling you, I was down in Naples last couple of days, and I talked to Hamlin. I said, Hamlin, you got to give me a list of the tobaccos when I go down that I can use and I can't use because there's certain things that Rocky won't let me use because he needs them for his cigars. Yeah. So I haven't heard it. I've heard some horror stories, but nothing. Anything. The projects that we're working on right now, we're fine. Knock on wood. I think the labor issue for Nicaragua is the biggest thing. And then Honduras has a labor issue, and they also have a wood issue and a little bit of a tobacco issue. So I think the biggest thing is labor, tobacco. I think we'll see a strain on it. Like supposedly this was a shitty year. So 2020 was not.
Well, I had the hurricane in 2020, which I heard had caused.
It was very wet. It was a very wet season.
Yeah, it caused damage to the crops and everything, and so the harvest wasn't all that great.
Saka just did something on it. He did it and summed it up very well. So, and Saka's got his heartbeat on tobacco supplies. It's obviously because where he makes his stuff. those guys they're obviously giants in the industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They know what they're talking about for sure. I have people going a few days early. A few days early, I put an announcement out. I said it was doing this. I said it was doing this last Saturday. Guys, pay attention to what I said. I'm sorry. I'm going down to Miami.
Yeah, usually I tune into you. I'm half of the bag, but I see you like it's so funny.
So now you go from so
what is Commish? Where's this t-shirt, Commish? Quit fucking tagging me in your goddamn videos.
Oh, he had it. He had it in his car. He called me. Had it in the bag, in a cello bag, in the car with us. They just got in, so he's all excited about it.
They look good though. They look really good.
So I'm proud of him. Good guy. Let him run with him.
I love the Commish. Fucking cracks me up. You can call him at 3 o'clock in the morning, but don't call him at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Oh no. He sleeps because he has to go to. He works at late.
A late shift, right? Yeah.
Tough job too.
Yeah.
Now you go out of name brand companies and you make this move to go into your own cigar adventure.
Yeah.
When did that actually come to your thought, and how long did it take before you got your first cigar on the market?
Yeah. So interesting enough, the first conversation I had with Frank Leo, my partner, and then we have a third partner too, which you don't hear about much because it's me and Frank that it's just me and Frank that's doing it. And it's actually a partner that introduced us years ago. So right after the whole thing happened with CAO, he was like, let's do this. And quite honestly, and I've talked about it before, I wasn't in the mood to do it. I was freaking, Churchill called it the black dog. I mean, I was, it was bad. I didn't smoke a cigar for a year. Moved my family back to the Philadelphia area. It was tough. It was tough on everybody. And I couldn't think of an idea. I couldn't think of anything to do. So selling mutual funds was great. The money was great. Working for Lincoln Financial was absolutely amazing. Great group of guys. I just ran into a couple of guys last night at Burn in Naples. And it was just, it was just an amazing thing. But it was just like, if I'm going to go out and I'm going to grind 12, 14, 16 hours a day, I got to do my own brand. And so around 2017, it started. Was able to really get down to 19 and work on the blends and take the market and get some of the artwork done. And then early 19, and then I said, I'm going full time to make this work because I'm going to kind of do part time and whatever. So November 1st, All Saints Day, 2019, it was official, I'm doing this because I'm going to do this full time. And obviously Frank Leo puts up a tremendous amount of his time into it as well, behind the scenes, and he's learning quickly. He's very passionate about cigars. It's more than a hobby. It's to him. And he's a numbers guy, so he keeps that running. So that's where we are. So 2 years later, we have now our fourth cigar to market is started shipping today, the Habano. So I'll have to get everybody some of those. And that's going to keep us busy for a while, so we might be able to show a cigar that I want to do at PCA. I don't know yet. But that's enough for us to take the market. So it takes a tremendous amount of time. It takes a tremendous amount of stupidity, and it takes a tremendous amount of money. So and just go. That's sorry. I'll have so many alerts for you. Boston Jimmie Show.
Yeah. It happens. So how much time do you spend on the road with your cigar company now than what you might have done in other companies in the cigar industry or even in Lincoln Financial?
Well, I've always been on the road. I've always been a road warrior. So matter of fact, when I had the conversation with Rocky about having the ability to utilize his Tabacusa factory for what we're doing, he said, Mickey, are you going to do it like you did in the old days? And I said, yeah. And he goes, all right, we're done. It wasn't that easy, but that's what he wanted to hear, because I think Rocky knows my work ethic. Nish knows my work. Nimitz, Dave, even we do some stuff. La Polina does our fulfillment. Sammy, Clay, those guys will tell you. And I'm doing the same thing again. It's time. And I always I never looked at Davidoff as a company I worked for. I looked at it as a company that I was a part of, because they made me feel like family there. I loved Davidoff. The only thing I didn't like was the ceiling. I saw the ceiling, and I was a little hungrier. So, and I had that opportunity with CAO, and I always treated CAO as if it were my own company. I've always done that. If I'm a part of something, I feel some kind of ownership value into it. So, with this company, absolutely. So last year, I talked about it quite a bit. Was, what my motto for the company was, so what, now what? Because you're going to get hiccups. You're not going to get it. Not everybody's going to bring you in the first time you visit. You had a great day. So what, now what? What are you going to do to make the next day great?
Right.
You had a bad day. So what, now what? What are you going to do to make the next day better? This year I stole it from my buddy Gut, who I played football with in college, who's now the head coach at Catholic University. So I'm looking forward to seeing him tomorrow. And he's got a thing that he worked with his football players, and I had a chance to spend some time with them during the season last year and have pep talk with those guys. And it's all gas, no brakes. And that's where we are. We have some momentum, and we capped off the year. And thank you so much for the award for the Small Cigar Company of the Year.
I say nothing. I'm going to see a TPE with something else.
Well, it was great. And it's like, we have to take this momentum. And Wani Lopez, dear friend of mine, wrote a great little piece on Facebook about rankings, like, how do rankings exist when it's a personal thing and blah, blah, blah. And I totally get that 1000%. But at the end of the day, we love being recognized for what we do. I don't care. I'm man enough to say it. I hope I never come across where I'm not humble or I'm too vain. But we do appreciate accolades for what we do and the work that we put into it.
Of course we do.
It's got to be all gas, no brakes. We have to keep this momentum going. There's still so much runway left to build this company, Boston.
And I tell people all the time, when it comes to end of the year lists, everybody's got to have an end of the year list, right? Small guys, small guys, big guys, we all got end of the year list,
right?
So, and from a consumer perspective, before I went and did this 8 years ago,
right?
I would look at Cigar Aficionado. Cigar Coop has just started. He was about 2 years into it. Some other small ones and other magazines. And you'd look at the Cigar of the Year list. And what I did is I would scan through these and say, well, if there's a cigar that's on a bunch of lists that I haven't had,
correct.
I don't care if it's number 1 or number 25 or 15. If it's on that list,
if it's popping up, it's got momentum.
It's got to be something good, I would think.
Right.
I mean, because there's enough palates that said, this is a good cigar. Now,
right.
My palate might say, this is my best cigar. Somebody else might say, well, that would be my number 10 cigar.
I heard you talk about that. I thought that was very well spoken. And I agree. Like, you start seeing, you finally say, fuck it. You get curious. Like, I'm going to do it. Hey, listen, I know wines and I know bourbons. I don't know wines like Herclox does. But you know what? Sometimes I'm in a bind. I'm someplace and I need something. I still kind of look at the stuff, like the accolades of it, like because sometimes you get in and you're in a weird place. And you're like, I've never seen any of this stuff. Hell, I'm going to cigar shops. I'm like, I didn't recognize one goddamn thing on the shelf, except a couple legacy brands
to choose. There's thousands of cigars on the market. And
right.
No single shop will ever carry every single cigar that's on the market. They can't. It's impossible. Even the biggest retailers online can't carry them all.
No, I mean, I get it too, because there's a lot of people that I thought, there's not a lot of people, but there's a couple of people that I was really surprised when I walked through the door and they said no, or come back, let me think about it. And then there's some people I walked through the door and said yes right away. I'm on board. I want to be a part of this from right away, which surprised me on the other side of that too. So it's interesting. I think I talked about once before, is a couple of people that I was really, really surprised. I helped them during some deep financial situations, and they're like, no. I'm like, yeah, when I gave you net fucking 9 months to pay your bills, like, you don't remember that?
Yeah.
You're still ordering product and you sold me bills from 9 months ago? But that's so what now. I kept kind of like, hey, what? There's plenty of other people out there that want to do business with you. You do it. So, and as a whole, this industry is amazing. So, don't let a couple bad percentages, wear you down.
No, you just keep pressing on. You got to have perseverance. I used to
Stogie pressing on.
I used to practice Taekwondo when I was younger, and my son was a young boy. And the one thing I learned that I took all the way with that was perseverance. Number one thing, persevere. Right. You fall down, you get up, you keep doing it. People are going to knock you down. Doesn't matter. You push that aside. Just keep pressing on. And
I talk about it as being hungry but patient.
There you go. Hungry but patient. Things will come to those that wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably have a few more proverbs than I do that you could throw out there.
No, well, I listen. I steal from all you guys and then regurgitate them on the next show. So I'll take something you said and I don't know, who am I on next? How about that cigar? I'm on Fuente's show on the 16th.
Yeah, you're doing the book tour.
Yeah, I know. I wish I had a book to sell.
Well, you have a book to sell. You got 4 books to sell. Get out there.
Right.
You knew it, man. So be proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Very proud.
All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a fast little break here. I'm going to announce my sponsors for the show.
Yep.
And then when we come back together, I want to dig into this cigar and talk about it.
Absolutely.
And maybe people can understand why I think it's so special, because you'll explain it probably better than I can as far as how you did it.
Right.
And then we'll move on to some other topics.
I love it.
All right. So today's show is brought to you by Rodriguez Cigars. Rodriguez Cigars is the oldest cigar factory in Key West, founded in 1984. Rodriguez family practiced the masterful art of cultivating tobacco on their private plantation in Cuba since 1947. And during the takeover of Cuba, they eventually fled Cuba in 1971, ended up in Key West, and founded the Rodriguez Cigar Factory. Since then, Danny DeFabio, the grandson of the founder, he has taken this to a new level, and you could check out what he's doing in Key West now at the Rodriguez Cigar Factory. You can check it out at www.rodriguezcigarskeywest.com. It is the only cigar factory and shop that I would recommend going in Key West. The best. You're going to love it. Today's show is also brought to you by Platinum Nova Cigars. Platinum Nova Cigars is a family-owned and operated premium cigar company. Only the highest vintage tobacco and the most skilled hand workmanship go into the making of each Platinum Nova cigar, resulting in a timeless blend of art and craftsmanship. The Nova brand and the family's work are a tribute and an honor to their grandfather to always remember him and his infinite passion for the finest cigars. Their love for cigars started with their grandfather, a dedicated master blender and entrepreneur in the cigar industry. So the next time you're looking for exquisite cigar experience, pick up a Platinum Nova. You can check them out at Platinum Nova Cigars at www.novacigar.com and on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And as long as this ad is running, you can get 15% off your order on their site by using the code BostonJimmie15. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends in Puerto Rico, La Jolla del Chan. La Jolla del Chan is a dream come true for husband, wife team Gabby El Chan and Liz. They want all the hands that work the tobacco leaf in their home country of Puerto Rico to have the same opportunity to expose their products. They call it La Jolla del Chan because they cultivate part of their product and at some point want to be able to supply the world with their native tobacco leaf. The pride that Gabby and Liz feel is the same pride of all those who work the tobacco leaf, and for this, they deserve a portal that represents them. They want to thank everyone for supporting their country. They say we will resist. You can follow them at lajolladelchan.com and at El Chan Cigars on Instagram and Facebook. And lastly, today's show is brought to you by our friends at Cigar Medics. And this I'll let play. And play. Okay. just as I had everything running, it decides to stop. I love live shows. Yeah, there we go.
Before you light your next cigar, be sure to check out Cigar Medics, the makers of the patent-approved humidimeter. The humidimeter is a tool designed to display the relative humidity inside your cigar. With this device, there's no more guessing. Simply insert the probes into the foot or cap of your cigar, and you can instantly know if your cigar is ready to be smoked. Buy now on cigarmedics.com and see site for other cigar accessories. With the humidimeter, you'll know when to hold them and know when to smoke them.
So I want to thank my sponsors for today's show. For without them, this show is always a little harder to do. Let's get back to Mickey and let's talk about the All Saints Cigars Colorado Churchill that I'm smoking. Talk about this, explain the blend and the inspiration behind this particular cigar. You're on mute.
I did that so you didn't hear me go to the bathroom. So
I love live shows.
Hey, my wife wishes that there was a mute button for me. Trust me. It's so funny because, you know, my oldest daughter, she's a rower. And when I was telling about the so what, now what, you could hear her walking out of the room going, yeah. So what, now what, Dad? Shut up. All gas, no brakes. You know, busting my balls all the way up. So the St. Francis, what you're smoking right now, so there's two St. Francis's, obviously, and we refer to this one that you're smoking as a Colorado. And the first St. Francis, that's the one with the Cigar Authority. That has an Oscuro wrapper on it. It's got a little bit more intensity and strength, not in body. I think there's a ton of flavor in here. I'm going to guesstimate you're going to agree with that.
Very approachable cigar.
And what I did is the percentages and the filler and the binder in both of those cigars are very similar. Percentages are different. The dominant tobacco that's in both of them is Condega, so you'll get a little salt forward. I always wanted to do a Colorado wrapper on a Nicaraguan cigar. That was a combination of my old Davidoff days. Actually, more of my Georgetown tobacco days. You would get those Davidoffs, the Rosado, that Colorado color. It was amazing. You were so psyched to smoke the cigar. So with the St. Francis, we put the Oscuro wrapper on. I actually wanted this blend with the Oscuro wrapper that you're smoking right now, this version of that blend with the Oscuro wrapper. And Frank, first of all, the cigar wasn't named at this point. So that's a whole nother story. Frank's down there and he goes, oh, no. I want the St. Francis, not the Colorado. Because I want the St. Francis. I want this one. This is what I like. And I looked at him, I go, you know what? You put the same amount of commas into this company as I did. Let's go with it. So we went with it. Boom. So wanted to do this, did this with the Colorado, and ironically, well, let me back up. So that, and I'll talk about that in that blend, that Condega that's in there. So we get back, and we really wanted to name a lot of cigars after Saints.
Mm-hmm.
Once we decided that we're going to name our company All Saints, and they just weren't. They're gone. They're just all gone for the most part. We have some new and some really neat stuff that you'll come out with names. I don't want to talk about it because, you know, it's just, they get stolen basically. So I said, listen, I didn't see on our fucking knockout list with the trademark attorneys, I never saw St. Francis. And so we applied for it, got it. Well, we're on the finishing touches of it. As you know, it's a long process.
Sure.
So we had the St. Francis, and that was it. So everybody thinks that we called it the St. Francis because of Frank really wanted this blend that I was working on. But no, it was ironic. We were on a plane ride back from Nicaragua. And then, you know, so he went to the Air Force Academy. And when I told him I wanted to put the Colorado wrapper on this one, he laughed. And I go, I know what you're going to say. It's like, yeah. So now we're telling a little bit about Frank's story too. You know, Colorado, the Colorado wrapper, and that's a shade color. It has nothing to do with. There's no tobacco grown in Colorado. I'm sure there is. There's a lot of pot that's processed out there. You know? So that's where that came to be. But what you're smoking, I really wanted that percentage of the blend with the Oscuro wrapper on it. That was supposed to be the original St. Francis. And Frank wanted that other version. I said, fuck it, let's do it. Obviously, you know, he's putting the same amount of time into the company.
Yeah.
The same amount of money, you know, if not more. And
I think it came out splendid. You know, it really highlights things like some of the dark chocolate notes that are
yeah. I love your description. That's what I was going for.
You know, and it
Salted
really
caramel. Salted caramel.
Yes, exactly. It just adds a dimension that the original St. Francis it had it, but maybe it wasn't as pronounced because of the wrapper. The wrapper was a little more overpowering on the blend than this is.
See, your palate and my palate are very similar. So Frank likes a little bit heavier in strength, and so do a lot of people do. I mean, but this is something. I think this is one of the neatest things we did with having that much flavor with that kind of strength profile, where it is in that kind of, I call it like this left to medium on strength, not body. I'll catch myself accidentally saying body, but I think body and flavor are kind of the same thing for me.
Body and flavor to me are the same thing. Strength is nicotine, how you feel when you get up off your chair, whether you're falling on your ass or not.
Right. Yeah.
A little woozy, which I've had a few moments like that.
Yeah.
Like you ever pick up a really strong Connecticut cigar and you think you're just smoking something light and easy, and all of a sudden you get halfway through it and you're like, I should have eaten something. I need water and I need sugar now. Do you ever, when you talking about strength, when you smoke a cigar that's got a lot of nicotine in it, do you get what I call the niccups?
I don't know if it's the hiccups, but I mean, I know what I'm smoking. Like I'll tell you, like Lido a little bit. I haven't smoked Lido stuff in a while. But you know, of course, I'm a big fan of Eric Espinoza, and I love what Wani and Kevin are doing over at Protocol. I remember my first fucking Protocol I had it with who was that with? John Reamer, right? So Crazy Train. And where did I have it? It was somewhere up in the Allentown area. And I had that thing, and I was like, this thing's delicious, but I'm like, I gotta sit down. You know what I mean? So you know, and obviously Skip Martin's always bust my balls, you know, about because he's a fucking, you know, he's a fifth gear full throttle guy. So
you know, the ones that really, you know, Lido Gomez cigars are always going to be just ridiculously strong. That's what he likes.
Right. And it works. I mean, yeah.
Like Southern Drawer, when they came out with their Jacob's Ladder, that was a cigar that you kind of knew was going to be strong, but it was very smooth strength. It kind of just, it didn't, you know, like a lot of cigars you'll smoke and it's kind of like a medium in strength, and all of a sudden it ratchets up on you. You just immediately begin to feel it like halfway through the cigar, and you're like going, oh, take it easy. That cigar, it just kept rising very gently until the end. And you basically were like, ooh, that was strong.
And, you know, also, I want something that everybody's going to like in our portfolio, too. So, you know, I know like Sock and some of these guys, if I don't sell them, I'll smoke them. You know, great. But it's all bullshit because those guys have really good palates and they know what they're fucking doing. You know what I mean? So
you want to have something that covers the spectrum. All right.
I mean, I followed Sokka's career from the very beginning. Like the guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So when he says, I'll smoke them. Well, yeah. Well, you tend to hit a profile that people like. I mean, and that's why he has so many winners out there. You know what I mean? So I kind of laugh and, you know, bust balls when I talk to those guys. But yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to do. And it's like if you take our Solamente, which doesn't exist anymore, I think I have 2 boxes. Frank might have 5 boxes. There's a couple retail stores that kind of bought that last lot of them. that starts out strong and it goes right down. It starts out full and and within 3 or 4 puffs at the most, it's right back down to medium, like a solid medium.
So you drop the Lajero in the front of the cigar instead of the back of the cigar.
That's the things we do. Accordion. Right. Yeah. So,
How I
right.
would describe it.
No, absolutely. It's also the part of the leaf too that you can put on the front. You can front load it too.
Now, how many shops have you found yourself into now after the start of this adventure?
Well, that's a really thank you for asking that question. So what I had said in December when I was talking to people, we are just coming off our second year. We're about 10% ahead of what we thought we'd be after year one.
Okay.
So if you put that in perspective, COVID happens. Tanner comes in February. I get back from the factory, basically came back from the factory the same time my container was landing. March 17th happened. March 17th, what a great saint. We're gonna do a big press release, blah, blah, blah. Walk, yeah, here we are. Micky's back. All Saints, blah, blah, blah. And that shit happened. I was at about 20 accounts, 30 accounts, hyper local to the Philadelphia and kind of DC region where I kind of grew up in the business. And one of the things I was doing during COVID was my friends wanted to support me. They wanted to buy the cigar. So what I would do is I would hand deliver the cigar to their house and then run their credit card through the closest retailer that carried my stuff. The retailers were like, really? I'm like, who else is doing that for you? Like I would have done that no matter what company I was working for. I would have done the same damn thing. Stop me from going crazy.
So you give them the VIG on the cigar.
Correct, because I wasn't going to sell was not going to sell the trunk of my car. So so that was the deal. So to answer your question, people know me by now. If you ask me what time it is, I build you a fucking watch. Is that we're at about 150 accounts now? Okay. No, I'm sorry, 150 locations, about 120 accounts.
Okay.
And growing.
Admirable.
I can't believe that we're pulling on accounts without me being in the store, places that we want to be here in January, which was really interesting because retailers don't like to spend money this time of year, for obvious reasons, right? So, again, it's like all gas, no brakes, you know what I mean? So that's what we're doing. And yeah.
So East Coast, West Coast, North, South?
Mostly East Coast. I mean, really strong. We take that I-95 corridor. Now we're really good up in New England, obviously. That's a little bit off 95. But East Coast, I'm going to be in Texas next week with Tracy Spence and Joe out there with nice guys. First time traveling with them. They're our brokers. They handle Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and they're in Arkansas, right?
Great region. And I mean, that's Florida, out there because.
Yeah, I need a Florida guy. I'm looking, and all the guys that I think I'd work with, one guy, he's at capacity, even if he would work with me. Yeah. So, I mean, all the names.
I mean, Florida is, you can drive a mile and see a shop and drive another mile and see another shop. Right. Sometimes you see 3 shops within a half a mile. It's crazy. Yeah.
Right. So I have Florida set up as a territory, right? So what I'm doing is I'm looking at it from a quarterly approach. So if I get invested, you're going to bring me on. You're going to bring me into your shop, Jimmie. What I'm going to do is say, all right, what's our plan? What are we going to do? So like with smoking, we laid out a whole year plan. We laid out an 18-month plan. We sat down for a couple hours and we laid out an 18-month plan. And Abe did not bring me in right away.
No,
so when he did bring me in, and we have a long, old relationship. But the next step was like, all right, what's our game plan? He goes, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, perfect. So that's what I like, because it gives me a little bit of structure too. So don't try to overextend myself to be in too many spots where I don't have good representation yet. And obviously I have no representation in Florida. I'm looking for somebody in my backyard. And there's a couple of great guys, but they're like, why would you give up your back? I'm like, I need help.
Yeah.
It's funny. I get off the road. I go in to see Dave and Dan and Todd and John and all the guys that went in, like, oh, thanks for blessing your boy. You only live 0.5 miles from here. Like literally, I could walk to their shop from my house. They're like, but we're following you, we're supporting you. Like, but not everybody's going to give you that much love, like, so it's, I get the ticks if I don't go see my boys at the winning, you know what I mean? So,
Of course.
Um,
But as you grow, you need to, obviously, you know this, you need to have the good reps that handle the regions, because your job eventually becomes, the rep says, we'd love to have you come in and host an event, because
Right.
people love reps, but they love brand owners better.
right. And I'm working with brokers right now. So, and a lot of these guys do a really good job of, they have their own little following too. So it's, sometimes, some of these I've seen, and I know some of these brokers, they're bigger than some of the brand owners. That's good for them, because that's what they're doing.
They serve a function in this industry. Everybody that's in this industry has a function, and we serve that function for the making the industry better.
Right. And a lot of these brokers are just as knowledgeable as that brand owner.
Yeah, right.
I can fucking guarantee you that. I
They
know.
gotta know the lines, they gotta know the blends, they gotta be able to.
They know what's going into it. They know the whole, like, do they know they know how to run a business model. I mean, they're all 1099, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah. So everybody's got a function.
Everybody has a function in this industry. And because of that, this small little industry of ours keeps churning along.
Yep.
I mean, the numbers came out again, and last year did phenomenal. I mean, it's amazing how many enthusiasts are joining the club. Okay.
Well, that's what when you were asking me about where we are and where we're going, where we've been in the last 2 years. That was really important, because when I talk to retailers about 20 retailers, lounge owners, whatever you want, put them all together. You talk to them about 2020, and they would reflect on it. It was the first 2 months were two of the worst months I've ever had, ever in the history of my company. But when they reflect on the whole year as a whole, so those 10 months or whatever, they said one of the best years I've had in many years.
Because they learned.
Everybody said to me, they're like, "Oh, that's got to be great for you." I'm like, "No, nobody knew who the fuck I was. I was still hitting behind the curtain. Like, you didn't know who I was. You know what I mean?" So you're not doing the touch and feel in Boston, saying, "Hey, come over here, take a taste of this. Look at this on the shelf over here." Like getting people to encourage them to try something new or try something outside the realm. No, these retailers were just getting that stuff out the door. Get it, boom, boom, boom. People are coming in, because it was already kind of a nightmare. You got to go out, you got to wash your hands, you got to put a mask on, you got to put a credit card in, you're out in the front.
Yeah, they all figured out that and most of them did, right? They figured out how to navigate those waters, and with curbside deliveries. There were cigar shops I knew that,
or how they could keep it open because they
would
crackers.
Deliver. Yeah, and they had to, and the smart ones knew right away that they maybe couldn't keep the door open, but they had every right to go into their shop, because they have to protect their precious storage, because it's perishable.
Right.
So they themselves could go in, and then because of that, the phone could ring, and they could say, "Well, what do you need?" And then I knew guys who would, they'd get out and deliver twice a day in their local area, drop them all, you run the card.
Well, that's where I got the inspiration to do what I was doing.
Yeah, I mean,
and it killed me, because I saw some of these manufacturers going direct, and it pissed me off,
Yeah, no, you have to support the shops. By the way, a couple of comments from the audience. So Chris Colter, one of my followers, thank you, Chris. He's also been a multiple winner on the Wheel of Wonderfulness. Fantastic cigars, Mickey. My first one was the Dedicación, and I am on a mission to try them all. The Dedicación was right up my alley, and I've smoked several more since the first. So damn great.
So it's funny he mentioned that. That was our first baby. We got Cigar of the Year with that, with great cigars, and whatever that was, 2020. And that whole line, I named every Vitola after somebody in my life or me and Frank's life. So the Habano is shipping today, which is a very similar blend to that. Instead of the San Andres wrapper on it, has the Habano wrapper on it.
Okay.
So I'll get those out there. Where does Chris live?
Chris, just tell me where you live. You can type it in here and we'll go on from there. I have his information. Also.
Yeah. So, so it definitely get out to market. So you're probably not going to see it anywhere until March because the way retailers buy.
I know, and they're all
We got
going.
CPE, so maybe that we'll get them in sooner. But we have them. So there's 4 lines out there. The Solamente, he can search for a little bit though too. But yeah, I can help him track down some stuff.
Jeff Walsh says,
"Hey Jeff,
congratulations, Mickey, on your cigar being named #1 by Two Guys Cigars."
Yeah, thank you, and Jimmie.
Wow.
So we got 2 #1s this year. Yeah,
you are rolling right along.
Yeah, our Solamente got #2 cigar of the year, and I'm like, how? It's so funny. I love those guys. And then Matt Tabac, he gave us. I like calling him Matt Tabac.
Yeah.
He gave St. Francis the #2. So
we
got the Ricky. I always call that the Ricky Bobby Award.
But again, you're on the list.
Right.
So obviously, if you got 3 people who are talking about your brand already, and I'm sure there's other lists that might have your cigar on it, it's you got to
gave us #22. I say, hey, I love saying, hey, we made top 25 with Coop our second year in the business.
Yeah,
so
there you go, right on.
Yeah.
Mike Collins says he says Mickey, what's up? Cause Mickey is the bomb with a bomb.
That's funny.
You know Mike Collins?
I'm pretty sure I do.
Yeah, he's up there. He's friends with Commish.
Oh yeah. I just ran into him.
He'll build that humidor that the Commish has.
We were hanging out together down in Florida too. So
Good guys.
So he was down in Florida for Great Smoke, wasn't he?
I'm sure. Yeah, I think he was. Yeah. And you gonna be a Great Smoke this year?
I think I ran into him in the Owl Shop. It's the last place I ran into him. Up one of my last stuff.
Yeah. I was supposed to go there if Drew Estate canceled all their events. But I was going up to the Connecticut Barn Smoker for the first time last year, but they canceled it. And part of my journey there was going to be taking time, an extra day, and go down. I wanted to go visit the Owl Shop. Everybody talks about it, and I've never been there. And I'm like, I got to go to this place.
Oh, you love it.
You know.
So Boston. Well, I'm obviously going to see you in Vegas in 2 weeks, but the week of the 14th, I don't know the exact days, I'm going to be Southeast Florida. Okay. I'm going to be between Miami up to Boynton Beach, that area. That's in your neck of the woods, right? Well, just a little bit south of you, right?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm in Melbourne, so I'll
be just a little south of you.
I'm east of Orlando.
Yeah, I know where you are.
Right.
So I'll be just a little south of you.
In February?
No, March, the week of the 14th.
Okay, right on.
And then where's the other? And then New England. I'm going to be. Why is this not showing up? I work off of 2 fucking calendars. So here you go. So March. Oh, and I'm supposed to be in Cabo.
There you go.
I don't know. I got to figure all this out.
You're gonna smoke some of those glass top Cohibas?
Yeah. The guy that bought those, he came back when I was working at Churchill on the back and goes, "Can you sell these?" I'm like, "No. We got our own cigars." Well, I will be in New Hampshire the 25th and 26th of March.
Okay.
I think I'm scheduled to be on Cigar Authority the 26th. And then if everything goes the way it's scheduled right now, I'll be up in that start up New York. Maybe I'll see Harry on the way up, Connecticut and Massachusetts.
Okay, baby.
Huh?
Okay, baby.
Oh, yeah, baby. No, so where's Collins live? I think he lives in Mass or
Mass, I believe. Kelvin Brown chimed in. He says Nick's Cigar World in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, speaks very highly of All Saints. Was there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So Nick's an interesting cat. So he's got some family connections, or his in-laws to Daytona Beach, where I grew up, and I was just down there. So.
And Mike Collins says, go see Kevin at Butthead's Tobacco. Up in
Kevin Page? Yeah, I'm in there. You know what, though? I owe Kevin a visit.
Okay.
Is that what he said? Is Kevin
Mike says he lives in Connecticut. He says, I live in
Connecticut. Yeah.
He lives in Mass. So.
Yeah. So, yeah, Kevin, I owe Kevin a visit. So Kevin was an early adopter, an old friend from my LCO days. You talk about a weird-ass collector of cigars. You want to go find something you haven't seen in a while? Go to that place. And I'll tell you, Kevin, if you're listening, I'm going to tell him where I know where your vault is. So you go in the front door. So he sits over to the right, and that's where all like this monster amount of cigars. His vault's to the left. He's got some, like, he was pulling stuff out that was like, I forgot that I was involved with. You know, it was unbelievable. Kevin got fucked in his cigar lounge.
I'm going to take another.
Not his store. He had another project that he was working on. He got screwed.
I'm going to take another quick little break here. I want to go fast through what's new in news on Stogie Press, since it has only been not a whole week, so it should be a short little break here. So this week on Stogie Press, couple of cigar reviews. The first one was the Jake Wyatt Appendix 2 limited edition Figurado. Yes, that is a low number for Boston Jimmie. Yes, I did not really like this cigar. I'm sorry to say that. I have to smoke some of the others in the line. This is a $26 cigar. It was giving me bitter notes a lot of the way through it. It had some cedar and dark chocolate nuances, a little floral and pepper, spice, and toasted caramel notes. But as the bitter note kept kind of overpowering it, this cigar is one of 5 Vitolas in this Appendix 2 line. It's an Ecuadorian Connecticut with a Dominican binder and a Dominican filler, and it has this Maduro little adornments on it. I like the little flower cap, I call it. That was a neat little addition. So very artsy cigar, but unfortunately, you could just see what began to happen here. It just was not behaving, neither the number of touch-ups. It was just hard to get through. And I'm sorry, $26, I really expect a little more pristine in what I'm smoking. So that was the Jake Wyatt Appendix 2. The Stallone Nicaragua cigars, this is the Zano Broadleaf Robusto. This one here came in at a 91. This one here, very nice cigar. This uses a USA broadleaf with Nicaraguan binders and fillers. It's not overly complex. A lot of these are nuanced flavors. It's not as complex as I thought it might have been, but that was okay because the flavors were so well balanced with the natural sweetness and the caramel notes blending in with the spice notes. It was really a pleasurable cigar to smoke. From a flavor perspective, from a burn perspective, very nice burn, just a little bit of a jag on it. Gets a little tiny off burn going through the middle, and then it kind of picks back up. So actually, not too bad. Hour 40-minute smoke. Very inexpensive cigar, $8.35. Stallone Nicaragua always has a way of producing cigars that are inexpensive on the scale of dollars and still having a high quality cigar. In the news, had a couple of quick news articles this week. First one is Southern Draw. So those of you that are Southern Draw fans, pay attention to this article and pay attention to what's coming out from Southern Draw. They are kicking off a program where they're going to reach out to 10,000 consumers, retailers, and media. And you're going to be able to pick up a 4-pack of these Corona-sized cigars. And the idea here is they want to have you, the consumer, give your input on it, what you like, what you didn't like about it, and be part of the development process of the next Southern Draw cigar. The fun part of this is that they're going to have a grand prize that's going to be selected randomly from all the consumers and people that are involved, and they're going to award over $25,000 in prizes from select vendors, including a box one signed by the family and an all expense paid trip and active participation in one-of-a-kind launch event as a member of the Southern Draw family. So this is a fun program they're doing to get out there. So if you're a Southern Draw fan, if you like Southern Draw cigars, you might want to get involved. Read the article. There'll be more information on this coming out, but this just announced yesterday. So I think that was pretty cool, very innovative. And then the other article that came out was Adventura has announced that they've connected up with Media Rueda. That gets them distribution in Luxembourg and Belgium. So if you're an international cigar smoker, and I know I have some international fans that chime in a little later, we watched the show, you'll be able to get the Aventura blends over in Belgium and Luxembourg. So that is the news and reviews on Stogie Press for this week. Let's get back to Mickey. We'll close the show out in a moment. Let's do a little lightning round. That means...
Hey, can I, since you just did your news, can I do something that's going to fucking drive everybody else crazy in North America?
Absolutely. Go for it.
So first of all, I told you Habano is shipping this week. So everybody, I'm going to get yelled out for not doing press releases. I'm trying to, people. So I'm going to have some follow-up calls I'm going to do tomorrow. The other thing is we announced that we were going to have a price increase for this year.
Mm-hmm.
Long conversations, finishing our planning this week. And me and Frank spoke. We are not, I am going back on that. I'm retracting that because I know a lot of people went to press saying, hey, we're going to have a price increase, and they showed those prices and increase. We are backing off of that price increase. We decided not to do any advertising, any kind of big budget, glossy advertising. And we rather roll that money back in there and and make sure that we stay true to our track. When we first came to market, being in that $10-ish range cigar, when we came to market 2 years ago. And for us, we looked at it like, was it worth the increase in margin, what we would net on those dollars to pass that on to not only the consumer, who is the most important person in the whole operation, but also respecting the conduit of going through our retail partners that are out there. And some of our we have a couple big box friends out there who you all know, obviously two guys famous and now Smoke In. So that's, so you heard it here first. So I got to get in touch with Coop and Matt and, the whole gang, the whole shebang. But you heard it here first, Boston. We just got done talking about it yesterday. And I said, I'm going to talk about this on Boston. So we're not, so we rather pass that forward. Our momentum is strong enough. I say that, we rather pass that forward. And
I applaud you.
I think that's more important to grow our brand at where we are at this place than buying some of the glossies that we would have loved to have done more from an ego standpoint, I guess,
There you go. Well, that's awesome news. That's good to know in this industry that has seen a number of price increases. So that's good to hear.
And they're all warranted.
Oh, absolutely. They held them back for a while.
They are completely warranted. But we just thought it was beneficial. I can't tell you about 2023 yet, but give me a chance to tell that. So
let's go do a fast couple of lightning rounds as we close the show out. This means don't go deep into it. But the first question.
Boston, I thought we were boys. What's going on?
Try to keep this. Try to keep it short. You may not be able to, but I'll give you a little bit to explain. Tell me your funniest story of an escapade in college. Everybody has one.
They're not in the room.
She's gonna watch it later.
the funniest one. They're all X-rated or R-rated. I tell you, one of the stupidest things I did was
you can talk.
I actually had hair. See, I was trying to get a Boston hat so I could be like fake Jimmie, like, you know, like the older version, the older Boston Jimmie. No, so freshman year, just before all the pictures with the dorm pictures and all that stuff, Ryan Hall, actually, my daughter's living one door next to the room I lived in my freshman year. My wife lived in that hall as well.
Wait, this is a co-ed dorm in Catholic University?
No, it's all girls now, but they change it. So it might be girls one year and boys the next year.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. So my wife was a year behind me. So I was class of 91. She was class of 92. She'll probably kill me for saying that. I dyed my hair, like I tried to dye it like blonde and it came out yellow and I looked like a heat miser. And my mom, who's a hairstylist, about had a heart attack because I told you you're gonna go bald. You keep doing all this shit. You wear these hats, wear these football things. Now you're dyeing your hair. You're gonna go bald. Well, you're right, Mom. You're right. I'm surprised she's not on here busting my chops. Yeah, there's a lot more. I don't know if
No, you don't have to dig into it. That's a funny enough one.
I dyed my hair. It was stupid. When I had it.
Stupid. Yeah. Who wins the Super Bowl and who do they play?
Who wins the Super Bowl? Who do they play? It's not going to be the Birds. Though I still have hope. Here's my prediction for Sunday. The first half is going to be fun to watch for a Birds fan. And then around halfway through the third quarter, Brady's going to turn his shit on, and then the Bucks it's going to slide. I say Tampa all the way. I say Tampa all the way. I don't care, Philadelphia. I'm a Brady fan. I don't like the Pats. You guys are a bunch of douchebags like us, but I am a Brady fan. The guy's a hell of an athlete, and I've had a chance to meet the guy. The guy is just awesome. Who will they play? I don't know. I have Tampa.
Yeah, you just focus on the Bucks like I do.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm not a Buck. I mean, I'm not a Bucks
Focusing
fan.
on Brady.
Yeah, I'm a big time Birds fan.
I want to see the Brady. I personally, I would love to see the Bucks and the Patriots play a Super Bowl. If you want to write a script, that's the perfect script for this year.
Right. But I'm also a Buffalo fan a little bit because Sean McDermott's an old Philly guy. So he actually played for LaSalle. One of his coaches played football at the same college I played football at. My wife was better friends with him, but two Philly guys. He went to LaSalle Prep, and then Stefanski with the Browns. It was St. Joe's Prep, Philly guys. So you kind of, the Philly guys, we kind of root for those guys too. So, root for
maybe
Buffalo.
it's the B&B Bowl, the BBB.
Yeah.
The Bucks.
Now, if Buffalo goes all the way, if Buffalo makes it to the show, I'm going to be rooting for Buffalo no matter what.
All right, there you go. All right, last question. What would you say was the most impactful television series?
To me.
To you.
The most impactful. A lot of people are going to think Sopranos because we did so much work on that. I think the most impactful series, I guess Cheers would be up there. Magnum would be up there. Baba Black Sheep would be up there. I don't know, Kimmy, what's the most impressive? What series was I always addicted to?
MASH.
No.
Ash.
Wings.
Ash.
Wings.
Remember MASH?
Boston Spoon and
MASH,
everything.
I would say, yeah, MASH, but
I
MASH
love-
was impactful because what it led to, the producers of that, how it led into things like
Yeah.
Cheers and others, that whole concept was.
I mean, when they
changed a lot.
flew that helicopter out for the last time with Hawkeye,
Oh, that was.
Cigar Strength, for God's sakes.
I was in a lobby of a hotel. So
I would think Cheers. It would have to be the most important because of the way that those people stuck together, and I think the brethren of the community that we have. That's the closest to a cigar show you're ever going to see. Obviously, it's Cheers. So I think it would be Cheers.
All right.
Oh, I didn't like Friends. You know, my wife just said Friends. I didn't like Friends because I'm like, how are these fuckers making all this money at like 24 years old? You know,
I never liked Friends and I never liked Seinfeld
I love Seinfeld.
until I got much older and my wife would start watching the reruns and I would be like, oh, this is what I've been
yeah. Well, you know what? We had our first baby this now, you know, in college.
You guys weren't.
Say hi, Tay.
He'd asked when you guys were in the room. He goes, "What was the craziest thing I did in college?"
So we had our first baby when Rachel from Friends had her first baby.
Oh my.
And so I really connected because I was going through like the postpartum
I'm
thing.
so sorry.
And sorry.
That's beautiful. I mean, you know.
Here we are in a hotel room all together in DC. So yeah. So that was, you know, something I connected to Friends. You're asking me.
I told you, Boston, every time we hang out, we have a good time, don't we?
So if you were actually a big Seinfeld fan, and I wasn't, but I have turned into like
I was, but I didn't watch that much TV growing up.
Do you know, and maybe this is a little trivia question thing, okay, about Seinfeld. Every single Seinfeld episode has a reference to Superman in it.
Huh.
Little Superman character, a little thing. It's on the refrigerator sometimes. It's a little dog
I never knew that.
Shelf. Every single show has a.
So who was the Superman fun? Those are called Easter eggs or something. I think they're called.
They're just there. That's just Seinfeld.
Well, there's a term Easter eggs. Like when you go around.
Go find these things, right?
You gotta go find these things.
So people go and search on the reruns and they look for.
That's kind of cool.
Who was like the Playboy bunny on the cover? Remember, you always had to find the Playboy bunny.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, girls. I wonder who it was from the Seinfeld camp that was the big Superman fan. Producer Seinfeld. Oh, Seinfeld.
On his fridge. He had a Superman on his fridge.
Yeah, he's a big Superman guy. So, well, Micky, I'm gonna let you get back to your family.
Thanks.
This is absolutely awesome. I do appreciate you taking the time. I know you sit in a hotel room. You're probably jonesing for a cigar, and it's freezing cold outside. So.
Oh, I don't care.
But
So I'll see you in 2 weeks, brother. We're gonna spend some time together.
See you in 2 weeks.
With Frank.
PE. We'll burn some leaf and have a good time again.
Thanks again for having me on. What a real treat. And thanks for the award, and I can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I want to thank all the sponsors. Keep it coming. We keep doing this. Thank you all. Have a great night and enjoy your time with your family.